Okay, good morning. Close to afternoon, actually, on another hot day here in Tennessee. Today's deal is, I've got an issue. I've had several issues with my 97 Harley Davidson FLHTC over the last month. One was a faulty fuel petcock, fuel valve. I cured that issue with the new fuel valve, or petcock, whatever you like to call it. And the latest thing it's doing now, anywhere I go here, is a minimum of a 20-mile ride to get anywhere, unless I ride the bottom of the hill, which is 8 miles, and there's a little gas station down there. Not really much around here, which is why I love it. But anyway, I drained the gas yesterday. Now I got to remove the gas tank, the seat, and get down to the bare bones of the factory ignition coil, which I believe to be the problem. What's happening is about the 20-mile mark, when you're riding this thing, it'll start backfiring and farting through the carburetor. And the other day when I took it out, it actually quit running. It left me on the side of the road. And after 2 or 3 minutes, I tried cranking it up, and it started, and it got me home, which leads me to believe I've got an ignition problem, ignition coil probably. So I bought a new coil. I'm going to show you what I bought. And it's still running the 1997 coil and wires to my knowledge. So over here is what I'm using today. I bought a high output ignition from Drag Specialties. There's the part number PU2102-0228. And I bought some Drag Specialty 8.8 millimeter spark plug wires, which are going to be installed. And also going to share a little quick thing about me. Not a lot of people know. It was back in '97, the first time I left Florida. I moved up to Georgia, and I spent 6 months at Myrtle Beach, and I had a Dynamometer 150. And it was actually hooked up on a trailer like this. And that's a picture of my trailer I had. That young looking guy there, that's actually me 30-some years ago. Almost 30 years ago. That's the dyno out of the back of the trailer. That was a mobile motorcycle shop. That's me actually doing a bike. That's a picture of the ramp that went up to the trailer, and the dyno pulled out to that. And I actually had 2 write-ups in Quick Throttle magazine down at Moroso Motorsports Park, which I believe nowadays is Palm Beach International. And this is a guy I used to work for, Larry Zebach, down in North Palm Beach, or Rivera, I forget where it was. And then that was me. That was my business, American Cycle Engineering. And I did this other lady's bike also. She was from Okeechobee. I did her bike. They were nice. They gave me a little ad in Quick Throttle magazine. I got to meet Ripperoo from Bidou. Before he died, he was a really nice guy. He was with Easy Riders magazine. He was a pretty cool dude. And this was a dyno chart of my '96 Harley Davidson Fat Boy. That thing was a beast, and I couldn't have done what I did without that dynamometer. And these are just some notes I made to myself. But on a dyno, you want a nice curve like this, like a boomerang. The bottom one is horsepower, which that bike was putting out just under 84 horsepower at the rear wheel. And it was 92 foot-pounds of torque at the rear wheel. Most times when you see engines, horsepower ratings, it's a brake horsepower, that's at the crankshaft, and there's 15 to 16% parasitic drag throughout the drivetrain. So, you do the math on that. Those numbers are not as installed, and these numbers are at the rear wheel where the rubber meets the road. That's where it counts. The dyno was a phenomenal machine. I ran that thing across the country for 2 years, went to all the big bike events, and it was interesting. So anyway, without carrying this on too much, I'm going to get onto that motorcycle, start ripping it apart, and I'll be back. Okay, I've got the fuel tank off. Now we can get to the coil. These are definitely not... Oh, I got Drag Specialty wires on here now. How about that? Okay. Didn't need to buy those. I don't remember I built this Back in 2015, I think. This was my auction bike I bought. So the coil wires aren't a problem. I can actually get to the coil and take it off. And I'll show you something I did find, which was on my mind. But the fact that the motor would run on reserve caused the big issue of doubt. But here's what I found. This is your vent line for your gas tank. Obviously, your gas fuel tank has to have air coming to it, or it's going to get locked up and no fuel's going to come out. This is the fuel valve. Got a little ball in it. I don't know if you can hear it. It barely passes any air, and it's already stuck several times. I tried to clean it out. What I think I'm going to do with this is eliminate it. I don't see why you need it. That could be one of the issues I'm having, why it would run out of gas and then come back to life. Very, very possible. So anyway, I'm in here this deep. We're going to change the coil and then throw this thing back together, minus that breather, and see what happens. It's very strange. It runs good for a while, and then it quits. With the old fuel valve, it would run only on reserve. When it quit running, you flip it to reserve going down the road, it would come back to life. So I don't understand that either. But we'll see. Lots of questions, and we need answers. And I'll see if I can find a picture of inside my fairing here when I took it off to replace the indicator lights here went bad. This whole side of this fairing was one huge mouse nest. It was incredible. And this has been the year of the coil here at the old homestead. 5 coils so far this year due to mouse intrusions and eating the coils. Not kidding. It's been that bad. All right, let me get this changed out. I'll be back. Okay, here's the coil that was on the bike. There are the numbers on the back. That's the actual part number. I don't know if that's supposed to be a date. I don't know. It is an actual Harley Ferguson coil. It says right on it, Harley Davidson Motor Company. Oh, I just put my hand in the red paint. That's nice. So we're going to go put the new one in. I've had decent luck with drag specialty products. Coils, I've usually gone with a Crane, XL, or a... can't think of the other name. Been around forever. If ever I go to think of something, I can't pop the word out. Anyway, I'm going to go put this on. More to come. Okay, we got the new coil in. I do. I had to come in here with a big flashlight and stretch these ears out on the mount a little bit to get the coil to fit. It's a little bit fatter than a factory one. I'm going to take you over to the bench and show you how to prep your wires. And I'm going to give you a little free tip. Free of charge for anybody riding the Evo. Anyway, they come with this little packet of dielectric grease. Oh, there it is. And you're just going to take your little Q-tip. Hopefully I'm catching this. You're just going to put a little bit on the boot. That's all you need. You don't have to go crazy with it. That will keep that from sticking to your porcelain. I mean, everybody should know that, but maybe not. Now here's the free tip. If you're running an Evo, like a lot of people, you're probably running Harley Davidson spark plugs, which are nothing more than rebranded champions. You know, they won the low bid to become an OEM spec and have a Harley Davidson stamp on them. They're just champions. And what I did time and time again on the dynamometer was I would take those plugs out, do a dyno run on their bike, do it 2 or 3 times, get an average, and then put in a set of Autolite 4265s. Every single bike without fail picked up 2 to 3 horsepower on another 3-run average, just changing the spark plugs. While I was looking for that plug to show you, I found this other teeny little plug here, and this is for a shovel head engine with dual plug heads. Shovel heads have a hemispherical combustion chamber, and there was, I guess, no room at the factory to put a spark plug in the middle because of valves, and so they put the plug all the way over to one side of the head, which causes very poor flame propagation across the dome. leading to you running about 36 degrees advance. When you put the two plugs on, you fire from both sides of the cylinder head, you can drastically reduce your valve timing back down to like 32 degrees, I believe it was. Makes a huge difference. I used to run avgas in mine. Anyway, that's your free spark plug tip. That's worth 2 to 3 horsepower just changing your plugs. These are vastly superior. Champion's junk. Harley Davidson champion, for an Evo at least. That's who made them. Alright, more to come. We can go put the wires on. Alright, I'm just putting the plug wires on, and I found another little interesting tidbit here. I got this little vacuum port here, and look what's missing, the cap. That goes down to the boss, which is that, let's see it down there, hard to see. Anyway, that's your vacuum operated electronic switch. I can't, it's hard for me to show it to you anyway. The hell is it? I don't know, there it is down there, maybe you can see it. The boss. That runs on vacuum, that adjusts your timing with the stock ignition, which this has. So I gotta go put a little cap on that. I just found that, isn't that interesting? I wonder how long it's been like that. Bike runs beautifully. Well, we're gonna cap it off. That comes out of my my Cooney HRS 42. Alright, I started to share that. Finding all kind of interesting little issues. Alright, I got it all back together. And I've cleaned and tested this valve several times. This valve, I truly believe, was the problem. This would give it the starving for fuel, and also like you will lose an ignition spark. This would simulate both of those issues, believe it or not. I really do think that's it. It neither lets air in or lets air out. So the tank couldn't breathe. Anyway. All right, thanks for watching. Hope that helps somebody. That's what's required to change your coil and diagnose the problem I was having. And once again, I really do think it was this valve. This valve is just defective, doesn't work. Doesn't let air in or out, therefore the tank couldn't breathe. And both of those symptoms would respond or seem as though no fuel, which is what I think it was, and also an ignition coil cutting out sounds the same. So either way, it's got a new coil. Take it out, put about 70 miles on it. If it doesn't do it then, it shouldn't do it ever again. All right, thanks for watching. Hope this little thing I showed you and some of the tricks help somebody what's required to do that job. That's it. I'm going.